Big news, everyone. I'm sat in my Sierra Sapphire RS Cosworth, and well, this car, after 2 years, has got an MOT, and I've taxed this car, which means I can drive it. Now, I transported it back from Tour Point MOT and put it back here in the garage, and this is the first chance I've had to, well, take this car for a bit of a drive to see what snags, what issues I've still got to deal with. Remembering, of course, it's only a couple of weeks now until my son's prom. So, I'm going to take this car for a drive, the first drive. You're coming with me, and let's see, well, what jobs remain outstanding, because I intend to finish this car today. Well, finish the interior of this car. It's still got to go back to the body shop, albeit I might do that in this video. Look, stay tuned. Let's see how far we get. For now, though, let's open the garage. Let's start this car. We've got that bogging down issue when we rev it, of course. So let's see what happens with that. But let's get this car out and do a few miles, and let's see, well, what we find. Here we go. As the garage door goes up, revealing my Colorado Red Focus ST, which looks splendid, and actually I'm really enjoying this month. And as we pull out of the garage in a moment, you'll see the Ford Sport Car, which I really do need to give you all an update on. Well, don't forget to click like on this video. Please share it. Do subscribe to follow this and all of my cars. And let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. I'd love to hear from you. Well, the first thing to say is it's blooming raining. I can't believe it. Honestly, the summer that we're having here in the UK is absolutely terrible. Anyway, gives me an excuse to try out the windscreen wipers, which look to be working. This car definitely has a bit of a splutter, bogs down there in the low revs. I'm not going to be going too far today in this rain. Intermittent wipers work though, which is good. We hadn't tried that before. But we're rolling in this car. Of course, Tour Point MOT put the number plates on. I fancy they put the front one on a little bit too low. I'll show you a picture now. It looks a little bit too low, but I can sort that. But we're driving 30 miles an hour. It's a 30 zone here. Of course, I can't push this car too much because the engine, it's a relatively new build, but it'll be interesting to see, well, how this car performs as it warms up a little bit. I've got a bit of a noise, bit of a tap, 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 tapping noise. I don't know if you can hear it on camera. I'll play around with the sound a bit, see if you can. But if you can't, it's like there's something on the wheel tapping. And I bet you it's those little weights that get stuck on the inside of the alloy wheels to balance it out. Of course, these wheels have had new tyres, and, oh yes, that bogging down again. I've had new tyres, and back in the day when this car was new, they didn't have weights that went inside the wheel, they clipped to the outside. So yeah, I've definitely got tap, 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 and it's getting faster as I'm going faster. Okay, I've got no rev counter still. It is reading some revs, but it's not reading them correctly. We need to sort that out. We know the plan for that. Also, no temperature gauge, albeit I did let the car warm up the other day and the fan's cutting, so I'm not too worried about that, but it does need to be sorted. And no oil light, which again I'll have to have looked at, but it's the turbo. That's the first time that's coming. Wow, it's just such a shame it's raining. I said I'm not going too far. I've got that tap, tap, tapping noise. I need to sort that out, but I'm driving my Sierra Cosworth. Okay. Let's go a little bit quicker. Oh, it's quite quick. In fact, it's really quick. I'm not revving it much over a couple of thousand revs, but So when that turbo comes in, of course the plan with this car, the engine build with this car, was to give really linear power delivery, not nothing, like all or nothing, and it feels like we've achieved that. Yeah, the speed limit comes up quite quickly in this Sierra Cosworth. Just a couple of miles in and the rain has stopped, which is great. But something else that feels like it's stopped is the bogging down at low revs. We'll stop in a minute and attempt to pull away, because that's when you really know when you're stationary and you try and pull away in the car's always looking to, I think it's trying to draw more fuel and it's not getting enough, and it's cutting out. But Alvin tells me, the engine builder tells me that can be sorted out with a bit of a tune. But I wonder if it's a cold start warm-up issue, because we're out of the cold start now, and well, the car's transformed actually. It's driving, maybe just needed to be driven, I don't know. This is much better. I've got a squeak coming from a belt up front as well, so I really won't take it too far. Addictive though not to get that turbo coming in. Oh yes, this car is wonderful. Right, I'm going to attempt to pull in here and do a kind of 3-point turn really, and this car would definitely have cut out had I done that from cold. Let's see, so in we go. This is the test. In reverse. No. That's much better. That is much, much better. No bogging down at all there. Oh, I did notice something else then, but I'll tell you that in a second. Okay, here we go again. Yeah, look at that. It didn't try to cut out. This is definitely a cold start thing, which we'll look to sort out. One thing I did notice then, the indicators aren't self-cancelling. They're working, but they're not self-cancelling, so steering wheel will probably have to come off again for us to look at that. And here comes the rain, driving back into it. So as for the jobs that we're going to do today on this car, we need to sort out these indicators definitely. Also the central locking isn't working off this door anymore, so we've got to look at that. Then we're going to put some film over the doors and put the door cards back on, which will be really exciting. And of course swap out these seats for the Raven Recaro seats, which I need to restore, so we'll do that in a moment. And then the car needs to go back to top point MOT just to sort out this clicking noise on the wheels, because I think they'll need to have new weights put on them, and they're going to do a wheel alignment, and that means the horn can go back on this car because it was on for the purpose of the MOT, but it's been taken off again for that to be done. Then got to put everything back in the boot. Oh, got to put centre caps on the wheels. I'm looking forward to that. A few other things. So I think today we'll be getting this car, certainly inside glove compartment's got to go back in. So all the jobs just to tidy up the interior. Then we'll go to the body shop to get all of the side rubbing strips put on and just fasten on those side skirts, put on the jacking point covers, and at some point to Alvin, but to be honest, that's Alvin, the engine builder. Sorry, go back to Alvin because that needs to be sorted out, that bogging down issue when cold. But to be honest, it's not a problem right now. I wonder if later on, if I start this car, if it'll do the same thing. Maybe it just needed driving. Maybe it's that warm start issue. A little noise I fancy as well coming from underneath the car. I'll check that in a moment. I might be hearing things. But yeah, this car drives really well. Let's go put it back in the garage and let's start working through the long list, but it's certainly shorter than it has been, list of jobs. Now for a job that actually I've been really looking forward to doing, and that's refurbishing the underside of the Cosworth seats, getting these rails off and, well, fixing this crusty, rusty mess that we've got here that really just catches your eye at the moment as you get into the car. So what I need to do is remove the runners off the bottoms of these seats. This is the passenger seat, but in truth, the runners come off in the same way, both driver and passenger, albeit the bolt locations are a little bit different. In fact, it's easier on the driver's seat. On the passenger seat, you've got to move the runners back and forward to access the 4 bolts, 4 10mm bolts. But before we do that, look at this lovely sticker here that's on the car. I'll put a picture on the screen. It says Keeper Recaro, which must be some kind of quality check sticker. Wow, that's lovely. Nice and original to the seat, and certainly something I'll look to preserve there. So let's hope I don't knock that. Right. Got my 10mm here, so all you need for this job is the seat out of the car, 10mm ratchet or spanner, and a kitchen table if you're allowed one. Better be quick. Right, here we go. So, bolt locations are here. Should come off. Yeah, there we go. Nice and loose. There's the first one. The second is here. Let's just get them loose first of all. Yeah, there we go. I imagine it's the first time these have been off. Just roll these forward a minute. I'll stand to do this. The bolt's got to come out, that's fine. Stick a bolt all the way out. And a second, as I say, now we just roll these runners forward. There it is. Do the same for the bottom one. And well, there it is. Now we should. There it is. Got some movement now. I think I'll leave that one in a minute. Got to be a little bit careful here with the passenger seat because you've only got this rod holding the 2 rails together. On the driver's seat, you have a fair bit more. So I'll hold on to this or it will drop. And we're away. One runner. And we'll look at the state of this. Ugh. That's over 30 years of dust and grime, and well, it'll be lovely to get this done. So I'm going to lift this bar out, I think, take this one out, get the runner off the driver's seat as well. And well, let's fast forward to me giving these a decent wire brush down, a coat of primer and a coat of paint. And hopefully, well, they'll look the business. Welcome then to my little spray booth, which also doubles as a washing line. Got the two sets of runners here, the passenger there, which I've split, and the driver's one. I've given them a good clean up, as you'll have just seen. I've masked them up, and I've had some rust converter, and I've painted it onto the legs of each of the runners, just really to, well, make sure that we stop any further rust. In fact, I'll put some pictures on the screen now. Next stage is to use some primer on these bits and then a bit of gloss black. Never done this before, so we'll see how it turns out. I'm going to concentrate on these areas, on the legs, on the bits that you can see. I'm not going to worry too much about these. We've cleaned them up nicely. So let's see how this turns out. Been a couple of hours now, and this is nice and dry. I actually put a couple of coats on these bits, both sides, just to protect it as much as I can. So light dusting everywhere else. Don't know, goodness knows how this is going to turn out. My first time ever doing this, as I say, but I think we'll get some gloss black on here and, well, see how it looks back on the seats. Masking tape off, and well, these, well, they're looking so much better. They look great when we get them in the car, certainly better than those gear seats that are in there at the moment. So next job is to get the seats in, give them a decent clean, and well, fix these rails back onto the seats and get them in the car. So I've given the underside of these seats a decent wipe down, and I've given them a vacuum, getting away all the kind of dust that we've got on the seats. And now, well, it's time for a decent leather cleaner and going at these seats and looking to bring them back to former glory, to really bring them up as best we can. We've been lucky with these seats, as I said in the last video, they really are in good condition. Now, as for the label that's under the passenger seat, I think this is the passenger seat, yes it is. So under the passenger seat, there was a label saying Keeper Recaro. And I said earlier in this video, that's probably to do with quality control. Well, of course it's not. Did a bit of research last night, and Keeper, in 1983, the company Keeper actually bought all of the shares for Recaro and formed Keeper Recaro. That was in 1983. I think that collaboration lasted around a decade or so. Since then, Recaro, well, they've become a standalone independent company again. But these seats were manufactured at the time that it was Keeper Recaro, and that's what the stickers are. I actually found one on the driver's seat as well. Pretty cool. They're there, they're staying there because, well, they're part of this car's history and this car's originality. Right, let's get cracking on these seats. I think I'll lift this one out of the way and start off with the driver's seat, and then we'll put the frame back on this one. We took the frame off this one, so let's put the frame back on this one on camera, and then let's get them in the car. With the seat now looking, well, lovely, it's time to put the newly refurbished rails back onto the seat. And well, you'll notice a difference. Earlier in the video, we took the rails off the passenger seat and these were not there. The rails in the passenger seat just bolt directly to the seat, but this one, because it's got a recline adjustment, well, you bolt these holes into here. Here, I'll show you. It's not too difficult at all. So let's offer it up. Might have to stand up for this, but we'll see how we get on. No, it looks good. About there. Let's see about there. Yep, good. Okay, slightly different bolts as well than the passenger seats, but they should just go in. This, once you've got the first one caught, it's easy. There it is. Right, I'll do these up. 10mm socket, remember. So that's the top two in, and now for the bottom two, let's just go in here. There's one. And there's the other. Right. And there we have it, one seat back on its rails, and well, looking pretty good. I'm pleased with how this has turned out. Let's do the passenger seat now, and as I keep saying, get them in the car. Well, they're all back together and they're looking much better. I can't wait to put these back into the car. In fact, I'll show you some photographs now of the legs that have been painted. Not perfect, but you're not going to get an eyesore now of rust when you open the door to step into the car. So I think they'll look great once they're in. So let's stop talking about it and let's do it. Let's put them in the car. First drive out with the Recaro seats fitted, don't they look fantastic? And well, they don't just look fantastic, they're more comfortable. Well, are they more comfortable? No, that's not true. The gear seats that were in here, they were comfortable, but these just hold you in position so much better. I mean, I'm coming to a corner now and well, I'm glad I'm in these Recaros. Oh, I'm addicted to driving this thing, trying to get those running in miles done as soon as I can, but also because I'm taking this car into Plymouth today to MK Bodyshop. In fact, I think this is the longest distance I've done in this car since the rebuild, so still getting to know it, still learning the ropes with this car and finding a couple of snags. I've actually got a squeaking belt on the front and a little knock that comes from under here. Something's loose. It's only when the car's warm. I think maybe the exhaust is warming up and just moving a little. I'll get to that. Today though, going into MK Bodyshop, it's the evening, it's about 5:30. We're going to shut the doors in there and we're going to go at this car, the exterior of this car, and well, get the outside finished. So that means putting the black rubbing strips along the side. It means putting the clips in to hold the side skirts and putting the jacking point covers on. And well, a few other bits and pieces, a few alignment things. So I'm going to get into MK Bodyshop, turn the camera on the car, and well, get this thing looking exteriorly just like a Cosworth should. This thing's naughty. First job was to properly align the front grille, the headlights and the bumper. Plus I swapped the pipes around on the washer jets as these had been put in the wrong way around. And well, that meant that you could only jet the windscreen with the headlights on. Next to the fitting of the side skirt clips, and I'd sourced these remanufactured clips, modelled on the originals, but these are made of metal as opposed to the plastic ones which always go brittle and break over time. These were £100 though, but I shouldn't have to replace them, well, ever again. We had to rivet gun the clips onto the side skirts and then clip them onto the sills. Our attention then turned to fitting the jacking point covers, and I will admit I have glued these in place. These are, well, near on impossible to source if you want to replace them, if you lose them when you're driving. And finally to the rubbing strips. First we cleaned the old adhesive off and then we attached them using strong double-sided tape. We couldn't actually do the full length of the car as, well, I'd left the small front sections at home, so I'll have to fit them later. And there it is, the front of the car looking nice and sharp, and the side skirts, well, they're now fitted securely to the car, and of course the rubbing strips are on. Oh, and whilst the car was up in the air, I located the source of that knocking noise coming from underneath the car when it's warm. Sure enough, it is the exhaust, and you can see here where it is rubbing away at the paint. I should also mention that off camera, the self-cancelling indicators were fixed by fitting the sleeve that should be fitted before you fit the steering wheel. Whoops, I missed that during the original assembly. And as for the central lock-in, well, I'll get to that in the next video. I think it's a dodgy connection in the driver's door. Also, in the next video, well, I'll try and get this Sierra finished, which means addressing those tapping weights in the wheels. The engine squeak, here, listen to this. I need to fit the front sections of the side rubbing strip, the wheel centre caps and the door cards. And I'm sure there'll be more to do, but if all goes to plan, well, then I'll be able to reveal the finished Sierra Sapphire Cosworth and of course get my son to his prom, well, in true 90s style. As always, thank you so much for watching. Please do share, like and comment on this video, and of course subscribe to the channel. and make sure you come back for the next one. And I'll see you then. Bye for now. Bye bye.